The Mets lost 4 out of 6 on this recent road trip, and they lost 2 out of 3 to the Colorado Rockies. Their pitching wasn't very good. The bullpen had a lot of ups and downs, mostly down. But before we get into this video, of course, I hope that you subscribe to the Baseball Hut. This is sort of a rant, I guess, and sort of a critique and just sort of what I think about Daniel Vogelbach, which I've been very vocal here on this channel. I don't hold back what I say. I want to see the Mets win, and I want to see them put the best team on the field. So as you know, the Mets have brought up all these young guys, Brett Beatty, Mark Vientos, and of course Francisco Alvarez, who is just killing it. He's been one of the best players in baseball the last month. The month of May, he's been one of the best players. And he, again on Sunday, hit another 3-run home run. He is a guy that's got to get more bats. He's got to get more opportunities to get at bats. And he must be put into the Mets lineup much harder than ninth. I would expect that he won't be batting ninth anymore. Now, Daniel Vogelbach. I've been very critical of him. I've been very mean, I guess. I call it like I see it here. He's a loser as a player. He's not any good. He's a losing player. He's not a guy that has the physical ability to do more than one thing. And when that one thing is something that is expected of him and he's not doing it, then he's a useless player at this point. You have a player, and Daniel Vogelbach, who is a big guy, is expected to provide power, and he has 2 home runs. Now, people have said to me, well, the weather hasn't gotten warm out. Well, Francisco Alvarez has 8 home runs. Pete Alonso has 20. And this is not a big home run hitting team, but Vogelbach is expected to hit home runs off of right-handed pitchers, and he doesn't do it. He cannot run. We know that. In the first game in Colorado, he hit a ball sharply. The outfielder dove for it. The second baseman could have stood up and thrown out Vogelbach without any problem. Vogelbach has no ability to be able to play the field. He's got no ability to run. And if all he's doing is hitting singles and walking, then he's pretty much a useless player at this point, and he's taken up a roster spot. Mets should find a way to release him. I think that's probably the most appropriate thing. A couple of things talking about him. His numbers have been horrendous over the last 2 weeks. In his last 5 games, he's 2 for 14 with 0 home runs, 0 extra base hits. He's now his slugging percentage now is at 320. 320. You know how bad that is? 320. 400 is considered average. It's 320. Now, the first time I talked about him a few weeks back, his OPS plus was over 102, 103. Is now 92. So he's 8% worse than the average major league player currently. So he is not even an average major league player. He's a minor leaguer now. Now, I thought it was interesting. Now, I don't know if this is true. But is Gary Cohen watching my show? Because the things he was saying during the broadcast on Wednesday and Thursday night in Chicago was almost word for word my critique of this ball club in terms of the usefulness of these veteran players. For instance, Mark Canha has usefulness. He can run, he can hit a little bit. He can play all 3 outfield positions. Tommy Pham, same thing. Eduardo Escobar plays second, can play third. He's a switch hitter, has speed, can do multiple, and he's a good defensive third baseman. He can do multiple things. Daniel Vogelbach can't do any of those things. He can't play the field, and he can't move, let alone be able to play the field. He can't even move, the poor guy. Now, he's not a major league player, in my view. He's not a major leaguer now. And if that's the case, then he should not be on this ball club. And the Mets are going to have to make some kind of decision over the next couple of days. Because Omar Narvaez is going to be ready. He is the other catcher the Mets have. They signed him to a 2-year deal. He's a left-handed bat. And funny you should mention, Vogelbach's left-handed. So that's a roster spot that can be easily replace. So I thought it was interesting that Gary, during the broadcast, was really getting on Vogelbach in terms of him taking pitches. I've been on his case for 2-3 weeks about him taking pitches. And taking pitches right down the middle of the plate. And they were calling him like window shopping. And he was admiring pitches. I did a short on it, a little clip of the broadcast, and Gary goofs on him. The one thing about Gary Cohen is we know that when the team doesn't play well, if there's a player that's not performing, Gary will call him out. He don't care. He's been here forever, and he doesn't have to worry about some player getting in his face, giving him a hard time. So when Gary says something, you take it for what it's worth. It's coming from a right place. So Gary, like I said, it seemed like Gary was saying everything I said in these videos over the last 2-3 weeks, talking about Vogelbach and this roster. And also, I would mention, Mark Vientos has hit the ball very hard. There's no reason for him to be sitting on the bench as much as he's been since he's been here. I kind of had the feeling that the Mets have been sort of auditioning and trying to figure out what's going on with Vogelbach, trying to get him right. But like I said, he's not a winning player. He's a loser. He's a losing player. And because of that, that's why you're seeing the kind of struggles that you're seeing. Now, if you notice, Tommy Pham, he had a very good series in Colorado because he knows, and everybody else knows, that his roster is in trouble, is in jeopardy. And it's going to be he's probably more in the yellow zone right now than Vogelbach. Vogelbach is 1 second away from getting skadooshed. He's going to be gone. But Tommy Pham is next up. And Tommy knows that he'll be next in line. His neck will be on the line next. And when Mauricio and they feel that he's ready, Pham could be gone. And if Pham is gone, that means they'll move McNeil more in the outfield, play Mauricio at second, play him at short when they want to give Lindor a day off or take him out late in the game. But we have now with Vogelbach, he's not a winning player. He's a losing player. He's struggling. He has no usefulness on this roster other than that you use 2 players late in the game. If he gets on base and he's the tying run at the plate, you have to bring in a pinch runner. And even if you don't use him for a pinch runner, he can still embarrass the ball club and embarrass himself like he did a couple weeks ago by running the base and then can't get back. He can't move. If he can't move, then you cannot be on this team. It's very strange the way this roster is constructed. That Billy Epler talks about being able to have flexibility with his players, being able to play them in the outfield. But you have one player on your team that's a position player that can't move around the field. He can't run. It's very strange in this day and age to see a player like Vogelbach skulking around the major leagues. It's very strange to see that. Now, we've had time to watch him. I've had time to watch him. He's terrible. And the fact that Jose Reyes is making fun of him. Jose Reyes doesn't make fun of anybody. He said the best way to hit a ball is by swinging the bat. I mean, if Jose is making fun of you, you know that it's bad. Because Jose doesn't make fun of anybody. He doesn't make fun of anybody online. But he wants to see the Mets win. Like we all do if you're watching this channel. I do. I don't care about the players' feelings. I don't care about their mental health. I just want to see the Mets win, and that's it. You can't handle it, get out of here. Darren Ruff couldn't handle it, get out of here. Dominic Smith, get out of here. Noah Syndergaard, you're out of here. You don't want to play here. Jacob deGrom, you don't like it here, get the hell out of here. And I'm like that about Daniel Vogelbach. It's all about the winning the World Series, and that's it. That's all that matters to me. And if you're a Mets fan, that's all that matters to you. He has to go, and he's going to be gone. I can guarantee you. I can guarantee it by the time the Mets get to Atlanta, he will be gone. Omar Narvaez will be on this roster, and he will be out of here. And that's it. Whether they trade him, release him, what would be one of the options or the other? Who's going to want him? I don't know. Well, you let me know what you think about this video. Mets still have a lot of work to do. Their starting pitching is a mess right now still. And they're going to have to make a deal at some point before the trading deadline. So we're going to have to deal with this bad pitching for the next 2 months. But they are treading water. We have the extra playoff spot. They're going to get there. But it's a pain in the ass to watch this pitching staff. being tattooed every night, and that poor bullpen having to come in and clean up the mess. Well, thank you for watching this video. Of course, please subscribe to the Baseball Hut.